Gregg Popovich has issued his first statement since the mild stroke he suffered back in November 2nd. Here's what his statement said. This has certainly been an unexpected 6 weeks for my family and me, he said in a statement on Monday afternoon, marking his first comments since his stroke. As we work together on my recovery, I want to take a moment to share that the outpouring of support we have received during this time has truly been overwhelming in the best possible way. While I wish I could get back to every single one of you, for now, let me just say that my family and I are forever grateful. We are thankful for our wonderful community, the entire Spurs organization, and our family and friends. All right, and so let me see if he said anything else. So here's the other part he said. No one is more excited to see me return to the bench than the talented individuals who have been leading my rehabilitation process, Popovich said. They have quickly learned that I'm less than coachable. So this statement implies that he is going to try to make a return to coaching eventually. Obviously, there's no timetable when he will come back. I'm willing to bet that he will not come back this season. I don't see it from what I've heard when it comes to even the mild strokes. It's going to be difficult for him to have like a full recovery in time for this season. Maybe he'll attempt it because his ego has always been that big, but I don't see him coming back this year. But the way the statement has gone, I do see him attempting a comeback next year. I hope he takes some time to think about this and he doesn't come back, to be truthful. I feel the game has slipped Gregg Popovich, and it has slipped by him a long time ago. I felt when he lost his grip on the game was 7 years ago, to be honest, during the 2017 Western Conference Finals when Zaza Pachulia did that cheap shot against Kawhi. I'll never forget Gregg Popovich saying after the game that it wasn't a dirty play or it wasn't intentional, when it was obvious it was a cheap shot on Kawhi. It was a dirty scumbag play by Zaza. It was very obvious to everyone besides Warrior fans and Steve Kerr and the Warriors. But everybody outside of that with more than 2 brain cells knew that was a cheap shot. But Greg said it wasn't a cheap shot, which he later regretted because a few days later he would call out Zaza Pachulia and say this was a dirty shot, this was a cheap play. But I felt by then it was too late. But it showed to me back then he just no longer had the fire or the competitive spirit or the zeal to want to win at a high level, to want to be a champion anymore. He was fat and happy with his previous success. Because if that was any other coach in that situation, especially a young coach who hadn't won anything, he would have been fighting like crazy to defend his star. Just instantly after that dirty play happened, the moment the reporters interviewed him, he would have instantly called out Zaza. So that let me know that Pop was on cruise control back then. And he was just checked out mentally, really. Just he didn't care enough about that series with his lack of fight until it was too late. And he only did it to save face because I think someone within the organization must have told him, like, hey, this does not look good. You're not defending your franchise player. And obviously it would get worse because Kawhi would eventually force his way out. Great, I don't blame Pop for this mainly. I think that was mainly on Kawhi, just him forcing that holdout and then trying to get out of there. I put that blame mostly on Kawhi. To me, it's like 80% on Kawhi, maybe 10 to 20% on the Spurs. I'll make a video on that one of these days. But after that, I just felt he didn't have the zeal anymore. And it showed in his coaching the years that would follow afterwards. Just he was very stubborn. He was not willing to adapt to the new NBA. And he wasn't relatable to the current generation of players. I don't think most guys enjoy playing for him, even though they say they do. You can even see that this year with the current Spurs team. The moment he left, you could see just a new energy on this team. They were just more excited on the court. You could tell by just the body language. it felt like they were like just free, that there was no more restrictions on them, and that they could just be who they are and not have to deal with the mind games that Popovich tries to play on you when you're a young player, with the tests he pulls on you. I just don't think he's relatable to the current generation anymore, and it's time for him to go. He had his run. He had a good run while he was coaching. I think he has the most wins in NBA history for a coach. He got to get 5 titles out of a small market team. He got to coach the GOAT power forward, in my eyes, the top 5 player of all time. So he has that resume, and he has a gold medal. It's time for him to leave and make room for someone new, just new blood. So I'm just pleading, just Gregg, retire. Retire. It's time for you to leave. Don't let the game retire you. Retire now while you still have some dignity and credibility. Don't stick around where you look old and decrepit, and just you have a lack of cognitive ability. You don't want to go out like that. Just have some dignity here. Just quit. The Spurs would be better off without you now. Just your time is up, as they would say. It's time for you to leave and let the new guys take over. Let this new coach Mitch take over. It's just time. That's the way I look at it. And I just hope he decides to quit this summer and just move on. I know that probably be hard for him because he doesn't really have much outside of basketball, especially at his old age. His wife is no longer around. She passed away several years ago. So he doesn't really have much, and that's why I think he'll stick around, because basketball is really what keeps him alive. So it's kind of unfortunate, but I wish he would quit. I hope his family can convince him to do that, but we'll see.